and we're going to dive in here to talk about Matt Britt and his background and some of his questions for me and my questions to him. So we got a good episode lined up for y'all. I've had a chance to know Matt now for 16 years, 2006, 2007.
Yeah.
Right. 16 or 17 years. So Matt, let's start with you. Why don't you tell everyone your quick 90-second backstory and what you're up to, and then I'll dive in with the same, and we'll hit each other with some questions.
All right, brother. First of all, thank you so much for having me here today. Awesome to be here with you. My background, wanted to be a professional athlete. Ended up separating both my shoulders the year my team won a national championship. So that didn't happen. And then moved towards the fitness industry. That was an easy transition. I'd already been training hard myself. So got into there, helping other people with that. And spent about a decade in that space. And then moved into working with you full time with the Body by 90-Day Challenge. We helped tens of thousands of people across Canada. And was a partner of yours for a number of years there. And then I ventured into the solar industry. And then fast forward to today, where I'm helping people be more sustainable in every aspect of their lives, helping them grow food, helping them reclaim their energy, helping with water, and just self-sufficiency all around. So it's awesome to be here, man, and quite an adventure called life.
And where are you located now?
I am in an hour away from Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. So I'm your part of the dysfunctional cousin to the north.
Sorry, phone call came in right over, but it said dysfunctional cousin to the north is what I heard.
Yeah.
And you got a bunch of land you're living out there. You're living solo? Who you living with out there?
Yeah, my wife and two young children. My youngest will be 2 in October, so basically a month from now. And my oldest is just over 4. And we live on 100 acres, about an hour from Ottawa.
Jeez. Yeah, I didn't know it was that big, 100 acres.
Yeah, it's big. Lots of space, lots of adventures in the woods. It's great.
What kind of animals be rolling around out there?
Well, we have chickens and ducks, and then our land has bears and coyotes and foxes. And I've fought with the fox a few times as he's taken my birds. All the other ones. Lots of stuff out here. It's great.
All right. Well, you're a rugged mountain man. What's up, Odie? What's up, Amanda?
Yeah.
All right. So guys, let me tell you my quick backstory. I'm Nick from Michigan originally. I'm in Miami now, dad of 2. I got introduced to the World Direct Sales Network when I was 18, fell in love with it, had no success at it, but mastered some skills such as how to handle objections, selling, recruiting, prospecting, and then finally leadership. Became a millionaire in the industry at 25. Company I was a part of went out of business, bought the assets of that company, created a company called Visalis that lasted for 15 years, 19 countries. Some of you might remember the Body by 90-Day Challenge, 3.6 million customers. And it was just a fantastic journey. Was able to create about 75 millionaires in that run. In fact, Matt was one of those millionaires we created in that journey. What's up, Russ? How you doing, buddy? What's up, Odie? And I've actually seen a bunch of the crew logging on right now on Instagram and some of the other platforms right now. So 3 years ago, sold the company, and I started a sales accelerator, different industries. One of the industries being solar, and found a niche in solar, which is the opportunity to connect real estate agents and their clients to solar professionals, and built a platform for that does a commission split with real estate agents. There's another one of those Vibe millionaires. What's up, Elaine? How are you, Elaine? So today we're going to do a little 20-minute showdown, back and forth, 3 questions. So Matt, I'm going to go first, and I'm going to hit you with how has the transition from being a single man entrepreneur, bachelor entrepreneur, into entrepreneur, married life as a dad, 2 kids, how is that transition? How have you handled that transition? How has it changed you? How has it affected you from an entrepreneurial perspective? All those things from the dad life, married life, businessman.
Well, that's a great question. And first and foremost, when you're solo, you're only focused on you and the people that you can help in that way from a business standpoint. But now being married, 2 kids, obviously your attention now, especially with your children, has to move to caring for them as best you can. And I take being a father very seriously. So it provides you endless opportunities for personal growth. It's fantastic how much they can teach you and show you weaknesses. So, the transition really has put me in a position where your time awareness has to be so much more nailed down. It's put me in a spot where, when you're dedicated to your children, the phone has to go away. The distractions need to go away because they're paying attention to everything and they know when you're not watching, and then they start to do things to get your attention, right? So it's really put me in a spot where I have to be that much more conscious of everything that I'm doing when I'm around them and when I'm away from them, that I'm focused on getting the things done that need to get done. So when I can go back to being with my children and my wife, I'm present. I don't have a distraction. I don't have the phone near me. And it really forces you to evaluate where you put your time. What things do you let get your attention, and what stuff do you just have to completely block out, right? That the present moment with kids is everything to them because that's where they live, right? They live for the right now. They don't care what you have to do later or what you were just doing. When they want you, it's your time to be with them and nothing else. And those are very valuable lessons that I've learned from being a father and being a husband. And it spills over into both sides, right? It makes me a better entrepreneur, and it makes me better at being a father and a husband.
Let's go down the path of how is it making you a better entrepreneur? So great explanation, by the way. And I can jump into the answers pretty easily based on what you shared. But what you shared was how you've created the right guardrails and the right, process and rituals for you to make sure that you're a great dad, a great present dad. Now reverse that. And how has it, made you a great entrepreneur?
Because it's pushed me to use my time more wisely. It's pushed me to ensure that where I put my focus, that I do so with intent and determination and focus in that time that I'm putting my energy there. And it's made me be very selective on what I say yes to and make better choices on where I'm saying no. And almost like saying no more often, where I want to be able to do all kinds of things, but saying no, and sometimes saying no first, even though I may want to say yes, saying no is the right choice. Where before it was yes, 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 I'll do it all.
Yep.
It just can't be that way anymore. And it makes you choose wisely who you spend your time with, I guess, who you invest your time with. Right? Where am I putting my attention when I'm not being an entrepreneur helps me more as being an entrepreneur because I'm choosing to associate with better people.
Look at all this awesome wisdom, man. Badass. So a couple things I picked up there, guys, is what Matt's learned from being a father and a husband is intentional focus, how to value time, how to pick the right people to spend your time with and to work with and to invest into. Because when he shuts off, and doing that, he's got to make sure that he's maximizing everything on the entrepreneurial side based on projects, people, and where he's doing the work. So beautifully said, man. Beautifully said. All right, I'm gonna kick it to you. What's your first question?
Well, it's funny. We're both going towards the kids first. What are the two biggest lessons your children have taught you about leading people?
About leading people. Okay. Two biggest lessons my kids have taught me about leading people. I think number one is to meet people where they're at and be better at meeting people where they're at. I mean, as a leader, to do that doesn't mean you do it. And number two, by far, is patience. So maybe I'll reverse the order. I'm so glad I had a daughter first because I don't know if Nicholas would be alive still if I had Nicholas first. So, so having Gia first, having a daughter and being just running so fast, so hard all the time, kicking ass, taking names, it forced me to want to really just, slow down and be just want to hug her all the time and love her all the time. And, just breaks your heart when your daughter cries. And so she got me to really learn patience quickly, immediately. And then Nicholas is really good at trying those patients. He's fantastic at testing those patients. He's
probably got something like you.
Oh, he's got fantastic selective hearing. He has the ability to block out just about everything. Now, so when you said, teach you about leadership, meeting people where they're at, I think is where to really translate that, right? Because I can't lead Gia the same way that I lead Nicholas. They're two very different people. They have two different levels of communication, two different levels of energy, and two different levels of, engagement, right? They engage differently. So I think if you look at from a parenting perspective, and it's interesting that you ask this. People say to me a lot that they can't be a leader and they can't be good at sales. I'm like, you got 4 kids. Like all day long, you're literally selling kids and leading kids, right? It's an all day function. And there's no difference between doing that and there is doing it, with adults, right? Except your children might listen to you better than the adults do, So it's funny if you're out there today and you're like, I don't know if I'm cut out for leadership. I'm like, if you got kids, you can lead. I don't know if I can sell. If you got kids, you can sell. So I'm going to go with patience and meeting people where they're at. Any follow-up to that?
So the meeting people where they're at, what does that mean? How, translate that into, leading others, leading adults? What does that mean to meet them where they're at?
Well, everybody is always at a different place, and it's much harder to lead people where they're at than it is to just lead everybody the same. Mm-hmm. Right. So leading everybody the same is significantly more comfortable and easy for the leader because you don't have to change anything. You get to do the same thing and be the same way and request the same thing from everybody and push everyone the same. And that does work. There is a function of, leading everyone the same way. And some people respect that you lead everyone the same way, but you're not going to get the most out of the team. You're not going to get the most out of people. You're not going to get the best results. So I think early on in leadership, I just led everybody the same because that was easy on me. But now, as I've grown as a leader, I've recognized that you can't do that. And you have to lead everybody differently based on what their needs are, based on what their skills are, based on what their strengths are, most importantly, what their strengths are. And if you can elicit the greatest level of all of their strengths at the same time, then you can create an unstoppable team and an unstoppable organization, whatever it is that you're doing. So definitely having 2 kids who are very different has taught me, has made me examine how I maybe can be better at that in my career as a leader.
Yeah, outstanding info, Nick.
So great question. And by the way, all the parents out there, dive in. How is having kids changed you as a business owner, as an entrepreneur? How has it helped you as a leader? As you've had children, you've had to work, with your children as well. So great dialogue, great topic. Add into the conversation, add your notes, throw into the comments. We'd love to have you. Okay, we're jumping to question number 2. So Matt, because I have the knowledge of your backstory, I know some of your ups and your downs, and the journey that you went through. And I'm going to go with, how difficult was it to have made your first couple million in a short period of time, and then lost that in this and maybe the same amount of time, and then how hard was it to overcome that, and even loss of a relationship to be where you're at today, at the top of your game, both in business life, parenting, relationship. You went through that valley to come out to where you are right now at that peak. How hard was that? What mental strength did it require? How did you overcome those valleys?
Well, one is I get up when I'm knocked down. I learned to fight as a kid and very young, and it's not something I'm necessarily proud of, but it gave me the belief in myself that I could handle adversity. I could get punched and get up. And this was no different. Going through the, meteoric rise that seemed like an overnight success. Well, that was 7-8 years of preparation in network marketing. I had a bunch of failure in that space, but what I kept doing was dedicated myself to learning, dedicated myself to being around successful people and going to events and just being plugged in. So when I went up and then came back down, it was my own fault, my own mistakes, my own shortcomings, the things that I did not do or the plans I did not follow that put me in the place where I ended up losing everything. And that losing everything was just, to me, another getting knocked down. Was it easy to get up and keep going? Yes. But did I also battle in my head with those stresses that I hadn't experienced before of losing everything, and your ego gets in there and you have the self-doubt talk? But the things that I did keep doing that were unnegotiable was I kept learning. I decided I was not going to stay down, that this was only temporary, right? Pain is temporary. That my determination, my heart, my attitude, my hunger for success never went away. And what anybody else said to me, or what they thought of me, or what they thought of what happened behind my back, none of it mattered, right? What others think is none of my business. What matters is, what do I think? What do I believe? What can I do to continue to move forward regardless of my temporary pain? And keeping my mindset open to new opportunities, keeping it positive, keeping it around growth, investing in my growth. That was this success formula for me to keep going. And Nick, I haven't just failed once. I have failed over and over and over throughout my life. And everything that I've done from a failure standpoint has only taught me more strength, more tenacity, more hunger, more valuable lessons to keep going. If you want to live a life of your dreams, it's going to be hard, but so is being fucking broke and doing shit you don't want to do. So I would rather work hard at living the life of my dreams than be stagnant and have a hard life doing things that aren't giving me the life of my dreams. So for me, it was a simple decision, and it's staying simple. I will never give up on leading the best life that I possibly can. I will never give up on working to help other people live their best life. I have a heart focus when it comes to business. I love to make a positive impact in the lives of other people. I love to think big, and I love to make things happen. I want to create success stories. I want to live a rich life full of wealth that isn't just monetarily driven. And that has never changed, regardless of the ups and downs, the peaks and valleys. I think one thing I've learned from you over the years is about how to stay off the emotional roller coaster. Don't let other people's emotional roller coasters be one that you hitch your roller coaster to. I like being more even keel. Yes, I get excited. Yes, I get hurt, but it's only temporary. I can give myself 10 hours, 24 hours to be down and think maybe poor thoughts, but then it's right back up, right back at them. Get back to work, get back to personal growth, get back to action, because you can't stay in that negative down place if you're taking action on new dreams and goals and putting in that effort.
There was so much gold in that. There's literally like 17 quotes and 17 core philosophies in there. Here's one from, I don't know how to, Guillaume. Looking back, our failures are always teachings we needed to receive. I heard dreams are hard, but so is being broke. I heard that even when you're down, you were investing in your growth. I heard what others think doesn't matter. I actually just posted a video of Deion Sanders he was doing a presser, and he's like, look at me. Do I look like I'm ever going to care what any of you think? Pain is temporary is something you said. Losing everything was just another knockdown. But you said something really interesting, which is, did I think I was going to recover? You're like, yes, of course. So you never doubted for an instant that even though you were knocked down, that you were going to get back up. The doubt never crept in your mind.
I was going to get back up. Didn't matter. I didn't know how long it would take to turn my life completely back around and be that successful man that I was before. But here's the interesting thing. I've never thought of myself as unsuccessful either. So even going through those ups and downs of business, which if you're an entrepreneur, you're going to have them. So you better fucking get used to it. You better toughen up, because it's not going to be the straight line to success, which often people think is how it happens. It is a squiggly line of ups and downs and twists and turns and steps backwards and steps forward, right? It's a nonstop adventure, and you got to keep your mind right, knowing where you're going, because these little temporary things on the path to success are only opportunities for you to be better.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. This is great. Anybody else that wants to add into this part of the conversation? What are some of the tools that you implement when the going gets rough? Or what's something that you just got from Matt that you really love, since he dropped about 17 on you? So, all right, I'm ready for number 2. Hit me, Matt.
All right, Nick. Well, you do a lot of things. You lead a lot of people. You make a positive impact all around you. So I think what's important for people to know is, how do you choose what deserves your attention in business?
Okay. So actually, can we pull this down real quick? You're taller than me. It's got to be inside of my purpose is the first part, right? So if it's not inside of my purpose, and this hangs on my wall. So how do I know if my target is on purpose? Sorry, the ring light there is hitting it. So number 1 is it brings me joy. It brings impact. It brings revenue. And that, therefore, it's inside of my purpose. Sorry, doing this. Therefore, it's inside my purpose, right? So joy, impact, and revenue. And then, kind of more of a philosophical level, my purpose is to educate, contribute to, develop, and entertain millions of people through all forms of entrepreneurship, mentorship, speaking, and writing. So that's kind of more of a philosophical, but to narrow it down, people are like, hey, do you want to get involved in this thing where we can make all kinds of money doing blah, 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 blah. If it doesn't it doesn't create impact, I'm not interested. Or if it wouldn't make me happy doing it, I'm not interested. It doesn't matter if it's just revenue, right? So it has to bring all 3 of those things in order for me to lean into it. And then I'm also super specific as to staying inside of my strengths. So that's another layer. So there's staying inside of my purpose, but then there's staying inside of my strengths inside of my purpose. So you might pick a topic where it's like, okay, well, that's part of your purpose, Nick. I'm like, yeah, but it's not part of my strengths. So what are my strengths? Sales leadership and business development. Those 2 things I've narrowed down to be my greatest gifts. And if I'm doing things outside of those things, we're not maximizing, my skills or strengths. Going further, I come from an industry that Wall Street doesn't like. So I want to do things that get a high multiple. So if I'm going to do something that creates $1, how do I get $20 or $40 in return for generating $1? Now you're maximizing, time value, right? And then I also know that I'm a sprinter. So I know a lot about what I'm good at and what I'm not good at. So I try to do things that just line up into sales leadership, biz dev, sprinting, maximizing, value creation. So as a sprinter, you don't want to bring me into the 7th year of the company to maintain it for the next 7 years. That's not what I do. You want me to launch things. You want me to create things that you want me to create the marketplace, not maintain it. You want me to go recruit everybody and get everyone going, get everyone fired up, not go kind of sustain everybody. So staying inside of my purpose and staying inside of my strengths. So saying that back to you guys, what is your purpose and what are your strengths? Get very freaking crystal clear on them. And if revenue is one of those things, it's part of your purpose, then for me, it's like, how do you maximize that as well? So that's a go at the question. Did I answer the question the way that was asked?
Yeah, you did. And it definitely leads to other questions, which is 1, how do you identify your purpose? And 2, how do you figure out what are the core strengths that you should be focused on? And this is for everybody out here.
Yeah. So for purpose creation, if you guys want to go to nixtube.com, that's just a direct link to my YouTube, nixtube.com, and click on the playlist. There's a bunch of videos on how to get narrowed down into your purpose, right? So it'll give you actually a 5-step process that, and for time's sake, I can't go into it now, but I'd love for you guys to dive into that, go into the steps, be like, oh, this is easy. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. And then the second question you asked was strengths. Strength Finder is the best tool I've ever used for A, I guess, identifying my own strengths, but B, helping to identify other people's strengths and leading people inside of their strengths. So if you guys haven't done your Strength Finder, I highly recommend that you do your Strength Finder. But I think, another one that I created is the Joy.
Strength quadrants.
Joy Strengths. Yes, Joy Strength.
Mm.
Joy Strength Quadrants, which is you make a T in a piece of paper, and it's listing all the things that you're doing, and then you start listing how good are you at these versus how much do you love them. I love them or I hate them. I'm good at them. I'm terrible at them. And you put those into quadrants. That's also in one of the playlists. You can go watch the Joy Strength Quadrants. This was something that it was actually Mike Craig. He's like, Nick, this is what I love doing. This is what I hate doing. And I was like, I think I can turn this into an exercise. So I just drew it out, and all of a sudden there's these quadrants of I'm great at this and I love it. I'm great at this and I hate it. I'm not great at this. So I'm not great at this, but I love it. And I'm not great at this and I hate it. Right. So it's like not great at this and you hate it. You should never, ever do those things. Yeah. You're not great at it and you love it. That's maybe you like to sing karaoke, but you're shit. Right. It's like, you probably shouldn't be doing those things, but maybe you do one of them because it makes you happy. But you're great at it and you love it. You should be doing that 90% of the time or 80% of the time. And you're great at it, but you don't love it. You can't necessarily not do those things all the time, but your goal is to, at some point, find people who are great at those things and love those things so you don't have to, right? So I think those are a couple different exercises. Joy Strength Quadrants, go through the purpose videos, and also Strength Finder. All of those will help. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. You introduced me to Strength Finder. I've gone through it, and definitely a fantastic tool to help you feel less guilty about the things you aren't good at and let them kind of fall away, and also give you the path to here's where you want to put your best strengths to work.
It's interesting that you say less guilty because everybody would think that I'm a relationship person. And I would think even that I'm a relationship person. And then all of a sudden you do Strength Finders and you realize that 8 of my lowest 10 are relationship. And what it says is I'm great at creating the relationships. I'm great at getting them started. I'm great at creating the fire and the interest and the intrigue and the excitement. I'm good at putting people together in business development. But I'm bad at maintaining that relationship 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years. And I used to think that I was a bad leader because of that. And then I realized, I'm just a certain type of leader. And I need another certain type of leader that I'm paired off with who maintains the relationships, where you got me focused on, kind of Pareto principle, 80-20, get me focused on the 20%. Let me pour into them so we can create the 80% of the results. So it's interesting that you said guilt, because I definitely had guilt towards not being the best at long-term relationship building with the people that I was leading. And then I realized it was just, I'm operating outside of my strengths when I'm doing that.
Well, and then I would give you a different maybe way to look at all that, because I would say you actually are very good at maintaining relationships with people you want to maintain relationships with, because I certainly know you've got a lot of friends that you have had for decades. No question.
Fair, very fair point. Thank you for sharing that. So, okay, we are in the last question here. So we're gonna wind it down with, what are the 3 non-negotiable characteristics required for anyone who's a sales professional, anyone who's a business owner, anyone who's an entrepreneur, anyone who's a leader, anyone who's a solopreneur? What are the 3 non-negotiable must-have if they're going to be successful they must have blank, blank, and blank.
A hunger for learning, a hunger for success, and a dedication that is unwavering as far as their belief in themselves. Hunger for success, hunger for learning, and that dedication that they believe in themselves, that they're going to do whatever it takes to be successful.
Now I'm going to go deeper on that third one. So the first one, you said hunger for success. So burning desire, that burning desire, hunger inside of you. But you also said you also have to have that burning desire, not to go do the work, but also to grow and get better and improve.
Yes.
Which is interesting, right? So, constant never ending improvement mindset, but also, this huge desire to win at all costs. Let's jump to that third one. Say the third one again.
Well, just that the dedicating yourself to having that belief that you can be successful, like that you are, right? Even change that word. You are successful. And
never-ending belief in self. Self-belief. The never-ending. So
because you're going to get rocked.
So the desire is the belief. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
You're going to get rocked by life. You're going to get rocked by factors outside of what you can control. So it's important for you to have that belief that you are successful, because all of these things that will happen that are outside of your control will knock you down. And if you don't believe that you can be that successful individual that you're going for, those things will stop you.
So there's the desire for the attainment, whatever that attainment is. There's the never-ending hunger to keep learning, and then there's the belief that you can do it. The self-belief that no matter what happens, no matter what life throws at it, you can do whatever the desire for the hunger is, whatever the thing you're trying to achieve, that you will do it no matter what. Is that an accurate recap?
That is an accurate recap. Those are the three things that popped in my head, and there they are.
I love them, man. Hell yes, I'll take it. All right, I'm ready for the final question.
All right, man. So how do you handle the stress that comes with the increased responsibility of leading a team and growing a business?
So one thing is I've never categorized or defined stress as stress. I mean, there's hundreds of people that'll watch this, and many of them that have worked with you and I don't think any of them would ever say that I've said to them, man, I'm stressed. Right. So I think I'm actually at my best when the pressure is at its peak and when the pressure is at its highest. So I like pressure. I enjoy pressure. And that might also be why I constantly throw myself into endeavors that create that pressure, right? Speed, right? Speed to results, and speed to, winning now. And that's probably why I identify myself as a sprinter, because there's pressure on a sprinter. There's a lot less pressure in the moment. There's a lot less pressure on a marathoner, right? Because in a marathon, you're like, I can make that up 5 miles from now, right? In a sprint, you can't make it up 5. There is no 5 miles, right? So, I've created a business life of a marathon of sprints, right? A marathon of sprints. Yes. And so I don't identify with the term of stress. I don't define it as stress. I think as things increase and as the stuff happens, the pressure gets turned up, and we either step up and we get better, or we improve, or we influence higher, or we get stronger, or the vision gets better, or we attract more people, or we break and we fail. And that is just flat out not an option. So if you define that failure is just flat out not an option, then you don't succumb to things such as the word of stress. Are there things that most would identify as that's a stressful scenario or stressful situation? Or yes, I have them happen every single day and in the middle of a bunch of them right now. But all that does is put constant pressure on me to step up as a leader or as a person of influence, or to do things I'm uncomfortable doing, or to make phone calls I'm uncomfortable making. And all of that, it creates a better version of me, and hopefully a better company for the company that my people are a part of.
Hmm. I really love how you've been able to change your internal dialogue around stress and
Yeah.
how you've realized that you thrive under pressure. And I would guess that you embrace it, you welcome it, you actually invite it in,
Man.
because that's where Nick is at his best, is under the pressure. I'm gonna prove that I can make this happen. And I would say that the people who are the best in, the best athletes, the best entrepreneurs, the best leaders, they welcome and invite that pressure. So well done on reframing that for yourself.
Amen, man. This is a great talk, guys. We talked about parenting. We talked about failure and overcoming it. We talked about leadership and strengths and purpose. We talked about what else we talked about? We talked about top tips, just your non-negotiable top tips. So we had a great one-on-one here. If you liked episode 18, put in the notes, put in the chat box, put in the comments. Tell us the number one thing that you took away from today. Light it up real quick. What's the number one thing? What's up, J-Man? What's the number one thing that you took out of the conversation today? Drop it in the comments, whether you're on Instagram, whether you're on Facebook, whether you're on YouTube, whether you're on LinkedIn. Matt, what are you up to now? Where can everybody find you?
So right now, I am working with a company called Food Forced Abundance. I'm one of the founding partners of this organization, been with them for just over 2 years, and we are helping people become more self-sufficient. Our target in the beginning was all about helping people grow food utilizing permaculture, basically converting wasted lawn space into edible landscapes. We have a food supply chain disaster right now, and that to me speaks opportunity. And then on top of that, we've been able to add in the energy components, the water components, the healing components. So building out the structure to help people be self-sufficient. Today, most people are purely consumers. We think part of the reason we're in some of these challenges is because we are not producing enough. So we're helping people become more producers instead of just purely consumers, and creating a better world in our belief.
Well said. And guys, reach out to Matt. He's a great man of character. He's a hard worker. He's a phenomenal dad, and he's got a great new business model. And if you want to connect with me, go to nickslinktree.com. Nickslinktree.com. All the ways to link up are there, from all the portals and platforms and websites and all the things. So that is a wrap. Episode 18 of the 20-minute showdown that lasts 40 minutes is complete. Matthew Britt, thank you so much for your time. I love you, brother. And I'm looking forward to doing something again with you soon.